Hi Facebookers. So if you watched technique 1, you'll have just seen that this is a vase that we've just put together with some supermarket flowers. Okay, so that's just in case you just literally want to get the flowers and just have a nice way to put them into the vase. Okay, so what we're going to do this time is, if you wanted to just make a little bit more depth, add a bit more greenery, just play around with them a bit more, then this is just going to be another technique to show you what to do, but to add those extra little bits in. So as you may have heard on my other little tutorial, that my garden is quite barren. I really don't have a lot to go at. Not to be said for trying to just have a low maintenance garden, but it just means I don't have a lot to play with. But you'll be surprised at what we do have and what we can get. So anything like euonymus, ivy, cupress, laurel, there's lots of different things. So this is just what I've found in my garden now. You'll find as well that some greeneries and some flowers, they actually don't like to be cut. They prefer just to be on their plant, and that's the way they like to be. They don't like to be cut and they don't like to go in a vase, so they might not last. And actually Hebe's one of them. It's not really very fond of living in a warm house, but it's so beautiful with the colours, and I thought the colours would look lovely against these flowers. So I did go and cut a bit of that. I've got a bit of ornamental cupress here, which I thought would give it a bit of depth and a bit of structure, a bit of interest to it. And then I've also got a shrimp plant as well, and I quite like how tall they are and how whimsical they are, so that's why I've cut those as well. So again, it doesn't really matter what you cut, just go for it really. So we're going to take these out of the vase now, and then we will start again with adding some of this. I'm going to show you another technique, which is a bit like a grid system. It's just going to help you in case you struggled with the first technique, which was spiraling the stems. A lot of people struggle with that technique, so this is just another little way. Whether or not like sellotape would work for you, obviously I've got pop tape, which is a floristry product, but you might find that some sellotape would work, especially if you need to cut it probably in half, because it'd be too thick otherwise. So we're just going to do this. All it's for is it just gives you a bit of a guider to put things in, and then it will stay where you've put it, rather than it flopping about and doing what it wants. So that's it. So we just made like a grid over the top. Okay, so this one here is, you're not going to spiraling stems because you're not going to be putting them in together, you're going to be putting them in individually. So, and this is where we can get a little bit of interest going as well. So we're going to work with the focal flowers first, just to give us a bit of depth in there. And with this particular way, you can cut things as well and make them like get them at different heights, and which will create more interest, more depth into your arrangement. So go on down there. Again, making sure that all your greenery has been taken off your stems, that's going to be below your tying point, or should I say the water level. You just don't want to have any of these, any of the greenery into the water, just for the longevity of your flowers, as it creates bacteria. Okay, so push them in there, just give us a bit of nice movement going on. That's that. So bring this one up there, and bring that one in to there as well. Okay, and then you can work with your more whimsical type flowers. And what's great about the techniques these days for the floristry is it is a little bit more open. It's not as structured and it's not as made. So with that in mind, then really whatever you do is going to go with the flow. I also want to talk about roses as well, because what I find is a lot of people, when they get roses like this, I don't know if you can see it, the outside petals here, yeah, they could potentially be marked like these are here, and they could potentially don't look the best, which is like this petal here, but that's completely normal. These are what we call the guard petals. So when the flower is smaller, these petals here protect the flower, and they're the ones then that probably get bashed about a bit more. They're the ones that are protecting all of this middle section here. So as the flower develops and it grows out, these guard petals here, they'll either die back or they'll get smaller. Okay, so it's up to you. Personally, I like the guard petals because I like nature and I like to see how the flower is, even if it isn't totally perfect, because who is and what should be perfect? I don't think anything should be. So with that in mind, then I'm fine with these petals. But sometimes people don't want to see this and particularly think that there's something wrong with the flower, which is wrong, but you can actually remove them. So as long as you go down to the bottom of the rose and pick it from the bottom, then it will just come off for you like that. The only problem with taking these off is that you weaken the flower itself, so it might not last as long, or sometimes the rest of the petals could flop, but that's up to you if you want to take them off or not. So okay, so we're working here with the shrimp plant. Just wanted to give that a bit of explosion up at the top there. Let's took them out. Kind of done this one probably a little bit more front facing, so maybe I'll have to turn it round for you when I've finished. The good thing is with adding this technique as well is you find that you fill your vase better by adding these extra bits. As before, as you could see, we were struggling to actually fill the neck of the vase and make it look full enough, but the way that we've done here is we've created something. So with creating a design, we've been able to fill that space, also with the greenery obviously, but to be fair, I haven't really put a lot of greenery in it, so this has helped definitely with filling the vase quicker. So it's really nice. Okay. So, and if you find that you like it and that you've finished, then don't feel that you have to carry on putting all of the flowers in. It just means then that you've got another little vase full of flowers that you can pop somewhere else. If you want to keep popping them in, then go for it. Again, like we said, it's only for your enjoyment at home, so there is no right and wrong or hard and fast rule that you have to stick with. If you're going to put the shorter stems in, then that's absolutely fine, but just make sure that you adjust your water level to adjust the flowers. And then what we always say is, as flowers die off, because naturally some flowers will last longer than others, that's just their genetic makeup. So with that in mind, if you wanted to take out each flower as it's died, it'll just help the longevity of the others. But again, that gives you then the opportunity to play around even a little bit more and start again. So you can probably go down with vases size wise as your flowers die off. And always remember, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it's what you feel is beautiful and what you like. Don't worry too much about whether it's correct or not correct. Okay, so you could play around all day, or like I could, but I'm going to finish at that. So hopefully you can see the beauty with the depth. We've got some movement coming out, we've got some height coming in. We've used different textures with the thicker greenery here. We've used a lot of focal around this area. So it just gives you a completely different look to just a vase of flowers. So I hope you've enjoyed and happy creating, and I hope you've been inspired. Okay, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.